Hello BSS, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here then just welcome. Hi, my name is Brenda. I do paranormal videos here on my channel, so if that is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing down below and turn on your post notifications so you do not miss when I post another video like this one. Alright, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Okay, hello everybody. Happy Halloween. I cannot believe that Halloween has already passed, that it's already here. I don't know when I'll be posting this video because I made a poll on YouTube and I don't know what the outcome is yet, but if it's Halloween, then happy Halloween. And if it's past, then I hope that you had an amazing Halloween. I hope that you had a fun time doing all of the spooky things. I'm so sad that October has come to an end. It is my favorite time of year and I am not ready at all for winter to approach us. So I'm pretty scared about that time of year. Even though I do enjoy the holidays, I do not like the winter whatsoever. And as you can obviously see, I have my spooky Halloween makeup. I don't really know what I was going for with my costume for this video. I was just like, let's do something Jack Skellington vibes, kind of Wednesday Annam vibes, I guess Tim Burton in general vibes. And I don't know, I just put on some spooky makeup just so this video specifically could be a little bit more spooky than the rest of them. Just wanted to bring it up a notch. But as you can see by today's title of the video, we're going to be reading some more Reddit stories in just the name of tradition, because I usually do these type of videos every single Halloween where I read experiences that took place around Halloween time. And I know my last two videos were already some Reddit stories, but I think that you guys enjoy these, so hopefully you guys don't mind that it's another kind of repeat subject for this week. But anyway, that's what we're gonna be doing. I hope that you guys have your Halloween candy ready, or your cocktail, your snacks, whatever it is. Get ready to get spooked here for today's Halloween Spooktober video. I'm so excited to read these stories because per usual I kind of just skim them and I want to have a genuine reaction with you guys or along with you guys, and so I don't read the stories beforehand. I just hope that they're good and then react to them as I read them. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm not wearing my glasses this time around because I felt like it would ruin like this look wearing my glasses, so hopefully I don't have too much of a hard time reading, but my phone's gonna be up closer than usual, just an FYI. Alright, so story number 1 says, it was around Halloween. We used to live in an old house on my in-laws' farm. My husband's grandparents lived there before us and his grandma died there. My husband's grandpa also built the kitchen for grandma, who was really short, and I am exactly the same height. There were many times I'd feel a whoosh of air, hear my name, something shut that was previously locked and closed. And one time around Halloween, I was washing dishes and there was a firm hand on my shoulder and a hot breath on my neck. I assumed it was my husband, so I made a face and said, I'm almost finished with the dishes. They whispered my name in my ear and I turned around to absolutely nothing. I was completely alone. I go through the house and my husband was on the floor with our daughter. The floors were very loud and squeaky, but still I asked him if he had been in the kitchen and he said no. I said, well, I think someone was getting frisky with me, and then told him what happened. Later on, I found some old movie reels and had them put on DVD. The first one had a little family reunion, and there is his grandpa goosing grandma. His grandpa also told me I reminded him of his wife a few times. Weird how things happen. That is so creepy. It's pretty chilling because, I mean, could it have been either the grandpa or the grandma? in that house, especially if they had lived there their whole lives. You know, who knows, maybe they are still there or maybe they visit, but very chilling experience for sure. Okay, so story number 2, a little bit longer. Alright, so this is placed 20-ish years ago, and the place is 40s Bungalow in a suburb north of Detroit. House has 2 levels, 1 big room on the top floor, plus a closet and a half bath, and a basement. This was my first home, apart from renting my childhood home from my parents. I'd had some weird experiences there, but nothing in the new place for quite a while. I had roommates for a couple of years, a friend and a child, and then lived alone for a few years before meeting my hubs. I was never bugged about being there alone. I rearranged stuff except for the kids' room for when she visited, so the upper level was unoccupied and I used the living room more. It had a TV, VCR, and bookshelf full of tapes. Nothing out of the ordinary happened until my roommate moved. No one ever witnessed the events. My practice was often to come home from work, change clothes, grab dinner, and plop down to watch a movie or a show on tape. I didn't always have cable. Since it was just me, I'd simply hit pause or stop when I was tired or had something else to do, wanted to read, etc., and pick up again the next time. Unlike my crappy Blu-ray player, the VCR remembered where I left off, and that's the simple creepy thing. Every once in a while, couldn't say how often, I'd sit down and hit play, but the tape had advanced quite a bit, half an hour or so, and I'd have to backtrack until I got to the spot I recognized. My VCR had the feature that if I accidentally left it playing, it would rewind all the way when it got to the end and eject. So I wasn't falling asleep over and over. There was no pattern to the days. Nothing was out of place. The doors were always locked, cats safely inside, and they weren't likely to be managing to hit play and then stop the tape after 30 to 45 minutes. When I had weird occurrences in my old house, my response was similar. Assume I was just forgetting, then slowly admit something was up, then eventually solve the mystery. But it wasn't happening here. I was afraid to tell people because I thought I was losing my mind. Okay, so definitely pretty eerie, not the scariest thing. A lot of the times I forget completely where I left off of a movie or show, so that could be just misremembering or completely forgetting altogether. But I mean, still creepy if you're like for sure aware of where you left off and for some reason there's like this one slight inconvenience happening for no apparent reason at all. It's pretty scary. And this was posted on the Halloween thing, so I'm guessing this happened around Halloween time, but she doesn't really specify in this, so who knows what time that actually happened. But either way, pretty eerie, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the third story. Alright, so this one says, hey, so I'm an assistant manager at a Spirit Halloween, and this may just be my area, but most of us returning workers believe the stuff is haunted. It's never the stores, it's always the stuff. I don't have too many stories yet, but I'll start with a few from last year, or from 2019. I worked for Spirit last year as a sales associate, and it was really fun. We had a small store since a different company outbid us for the rent of our usual location, so we ended up in a really small store. We only had costumes, no animatronics. However, that didn't stop spooky things from happening. We all have walkies that we use throughout the store. I was head of the registers and usually the only SA there, with 1 AM since it is a really small store. One night, my SM was in the back stock room going through our latest shipment. He was working away and I had hardly seen him much. Keep in mind, he was a guy. It was near close around 9 PM. We closed at 10 PM. And I heard a little girl over the walkie. All she said was, hello. It happened a few times too. I radioed my manager and he radios back saying he heard it too. Creepy. We closed up the store and that was that. The spooky thing is, it kept happening. We eventually found out her name was Wendy. We asked her a few times and got no response, but eventually one of my coworkers got a response. She never really said more than hello in a small girl's voice, kind of like a kid does in a store when they're lost. That's all I'm going to share for this post since I drew it out much longer than it needed to be, but I hope you enjoyed. And that is so fun because I've always wondered if creepy stuff happens in stores like that, especially once they're locking up or once they're closing up, because a lot of those animatronics are a little bit too lifelike, and I'm always like, I would be so scared to turn off the lights in that place and then turn my back to any of those animatronics or any of the costumes or the dolls. This was genuinely creepy to me. And I want to see if they have a second story to this because it looks like they wanted to post another one. Alright, so they do have another one, so I'm going to read another one from them. It says, "Hello again. In this post, I'm going to talk about a few small things that happened. They weren't too spooky, but at the time, it really messed with us. First one is titled Pennywise. This one happened a lot actually. So after close, we zone, meaning tidy up the store, put things back where they go, and make everything look nice for open the next day. Now, we always have to put back the It/Pennywise mask back on its hook every night. It's a huge mask. It's very detailed and people love to try it on. This was before COVID hit. But after putting him back, he'd always move himself again. While we were counting the drawers, he'd move from the front of the store to the center, just while we weren't looking. It was always so freaky to be walking to the back and see his face where it shouldn't be. That's so creepy." And the second one is chainsaws. So we had a weapon wall. It had all our foam or plastic props for your costume. Chainsaws would end up all over the place because people love these. The same exact thing would happen with a chainsaw as the It mask. They would be moved while we weren't looking, and of course they were in the back of the store where it's darker and spookier during close. Oh my gosh. And I wonder if it's not other employees trying to like scare each other, but if everyone is kind of on the same page about this being strange and something that doesn't make sense to them, then I guess, it's pretty legit. Alright, the next one is the sprinkler. We had a bunch of those fire safety sprinklers on the ceiling, but we had one in particular right above the weapons wall that would wiggle, like someone was pushing it around. It was loose, we could see that clearly, but it moved like someone was twisting it, not like a wiggly pipe. It was freaky to walk by because after we turned the music off, you could hear it squeaking. Now this one can probably be explained just fine, but the sound it made always made us a little uneasy late at night. Yeah, I feel like it would be pretty easy to get freaked out in the store in general, so I totally understand that. Okay, and the next one is the bang. So our walls are made of pegboard and metal feet to support them. In the store, we couldn't fit even a person behind the whole left side of the store walls. The right side you could just a little because the thermostat was there. But one day during closing time, on the left side near the cash register, we heard a really loud noise. It sounded like a bunch of stuff had fallen over. We looked around the whole area to see if maybe it was stuff falling off the other side where the public can shop, or if it was something in the M Plus line, and there was nothing. Nothing fell at all. The spookiest part about this to me is I did the takedown for that store where we take all the merchandise and pack it up, and then we take down the walls. Nothing was behind that wall. Nothing fell. It was so weird. It only happened once, but I still can't quite figure it out or even come up with an explanation. So I think these are all the stories I have from 2019. They are small things, but some are definitely spooky, and when you're there to witness them, it spooks you just a little bit more. I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit. I will be posting more from this year, but we just opened late August, so not too much has happened yet. I'm an assignment manager this year, so I stay later and have access to the spookier rooms we have and all that kind of fun stuff. So hopefully I'll have more and even spookier stories to share from this year working at Spirit Halloween. stay spooky. Oh my gosh. They're like way too chill about this. They're like, hopefully I have more experiences. That way I can tell you guys. I mean, some people are built different. Some people are more brave than I would be. I would not want anything to happen. Even if it meant having a cool story to tell, I'd be like, no, hard pass for me. I just want to be left alone and I just want to do my job. Because that's scary as hell. Okay, now those were really good stories from Spirit Halloween. I love that. So here is another story. I don't remember which story we're even on. I think number 4. I forgot. Alright, this one is titled, I work at a Halloween corn maze and something very scary is going on. Or going down, I guess. Alright, so first off, let's start with some background on me right now. I am working at one of those haunted mazes for the month of October. It pays minimum wage, so I get a little spending money to get me through college. Our maze is a corn maze / haunted house. I am not one of the people who get to jump out with a bloody mask and scare the visitors. I'm the girl who works the picture counter. You see, the maze I work at takes a picture of you when you go through a certain part of it. And then at the end of the maze, you can see the picture of you and your friends looking ridiculous and scared and buy it for $5. It's actually pretty fun to see everyone's faces. There are some pretty hilarious ones. So I've been working here for a few weeks, a couple nights a week. A lot of people have come through, hundreds, and every single one of them has been caught screaming, jumping, staring in horror, etc. at the point where the picture is taken. But Friday night, that changed. At about 8:30 p.m., a picture loaded on my computer and I set to print it. I was told through text that it was a party of one, so I should print only one copy. I got ready to do so and glanced at the picture. It was a single man, completely dressed in black, head adorned with the jet black bowler hat. He wasn't screaming, wasn't cringing away. He was facing right at the camera, his face shrouded in shadow. It unnerved me. I had never seen someone not react. Never. But whatever, maybe he was just used to it, or maybe someone told him what to expect. I got over it and finished my night, selling people their funny memories. Just as we were shutting down around 11, I was packing up the unsold pictures when I saw the man's picture again. Then I realized I had never seen him to ask if he wanted to buy it. It was odd, as they had to pass my kiosk to get out of the maze. I just decided not to let it worry me and drove home. But here's where it gets scary and weird. Okay, so I went back to work yesterday, Saturday, and did my job until around 8:30. And then the picture came through. Party of one. Man completely in black, not scared, staring at the camera, but this time I could sort of see his face. He was smiling in the most frightening way possible, practically all his teeth showing. I felt sick to my stomach and actually wanted to leave, but I couldn't, obviously, as Saturdays are our busiest nights. Finally, the end of the night rolled around. He never came to get his photo. Again, I told my boss to come check it out. Showed him both photos and told him how the guy never showed up to see me. I was visibly shaken, but he told me not to worry about it, that it was probably some practical joker who was trying to freak us out or something. But I am worried. Guys, what should I do? I work again tonight, so I'll update you tomorrow, but I'm freaked out. What if he comes back? What if he knows I'm working this kiosk and knows I see his pictures? And she puts down an update, because obviously this isn't in real time. So she comes back, puts an update on here. Okay, to start off, I want to respond to a comment about the corn harboring evil beings. What are they? What do they want to do to me? I do live in a place with a rich Native American history. Is that related? Anyway, here's a recount of last night. So I'm convinced the man, or whatever he is, knows who I am and that I'm here and that I think he's purposely here for me. Last night, Sunday, I asked my boss if I could have someone work with me because I was nervous. However, he denied my request because we didn't have extra people working, which I get. I guess Sundays aren't busy this early before Halloween, most years, but this one was turning out to be. so he didn't prepare for me needing a bodyguard. He said he would come over every hour or so to check up on me if I wanted him to. I kind of feel stupid and childish. It was early in the night, so it was still light out, and everything felt okay, you know? I was lured into a false sense of security, I suppose. So I told him it was fine. I would just keep in contact and tell him if things got weird. Well, they did get weird. At around 7:45 or so, I realized I had to pee, so I texted my boss and asked if he would send someone over to cover for me. He didn't reply, which is really odd because he usually texts back super fast to maintain order if something is going awry. When he finally replied to me, it was 8:21. I know because I was glancing at my phone every 30 seconds. He said he would send the girl working the ticket counter. I'm going to call her Alex, even though that's not her real name, because I'm paranoid, to switch with me for a bit and he would work tickets. As soon as Alex got to the photo kiosk, I practically ran to the bathroom, which is actually just some nasty porta potties, because I had to pee so bad. There was a line, of course, and I stood waiting impatiently. Just as I was about to go in, movement to my left caught my attention. I looked over there, which is just more empty cornfield that isn't part of the maze. It stretches on for miles, and I saw him. I freaking saw him standing there, guys, in the corn. The same sinister smile on his face. I looked around and noticed there was no line. No people were around me. My blood ran cold and my heart was beating faster than it ever has, I swear. I jumped into the porta potty, locked myself in, and threw up. I started crying like a little baby, shaking and heaving. I literally stayed in there for 15 minutes. As I walked back, I kept my eyes straight ahead, pointedly ignoring the cornfields beside me. As soon as I got back to the photo kiosk, Alex noticed I was messed up and she texted our boss. He couldn't leave the ticket counter unmanned, so he told Alex to just stay with me until I was okay. I have this irrational fear of letting people down, so I reassured her that I was fine and that she should just go work tickets and that I would be fine. I'm stupid sometimes, but it's just this thing I have. I hate letting people down. So much so that I was willing to be terrified alone at that damn kiosk for another 2 hours. Dumb, I know. So Alex left, rather reluctantly, I think, and I was alone again. By this time, it was almost 9 p.m. I decided to look at the picture from around 8:30 to see if he had gone through. He hadn't. I think he knew I wasn't at the kiosk, and that's why he was in the corn by the bathrooms and not in the maze. I don't understand what I possibly did to make him come after me. Maybe he's not evil. Maybe he just has a message for me or something. I know I should just quit this job, but I can't stomach the thought of leaving them all with no one. It's hard to get someone and train them and everything this close to Halloween because it's always so busy. I also don't want to just leave because I have this feeling in the pit of my stomach, an almost primal feeling that no matter where I go, he is going to follow. Oh my gosh. And then she does have a part 2, so I kind of want to read it because this was already so crazy. Okay, and then she reminds everyone that she did put that update for the original post after she worked on Sunday. And then it says, okay, to start off, shit is going down. Have never been more afraid in my life. I just want to note that I don't live in Indiana, but I do live in the Midwest, where Native American culture is prevalent and corn is a huge crop here. So anyway, I took your advice and I went today to quit because, as a few of you said, I figured that you were right and it's not worth it to go insane because of a stupid minimum wage job. So I went back today, Tuesday, even though I didn't work. I felt very uncomfortable and sick to my stomach at the thought of having to quit. But I figured my boss would understand because of the crazy circumstances I was being faced with, even if he didn't believe me. It wasn't like I was quitting because I found some better job or I was too lazy or something. I was feeling like I was under attack. I barely slept at all last night. My roommate probably hates me because I jolted upright at every creak, groan, and thud. But I digress. I got to the maze around 5, making sure I would be there when it was still light out, but late enough in the day that my boss would be around. I headed to the box office where my boss usually hangs out for the beginning of the night. He was sitting in his desk chair, just kind of staring at the window on the wall overlooking the corn. I knocked lightly before coming into the room. He moved his head disturbingly quickly to face me. His eyes were black. I'm not kidding you, they were jet black. I gasped audibly and stepped back out of instinct. He stood up and started moving towards me. I know I had left the door open, but for some reason it had closed. Perhaps from the wind, though it wasn't all that windy as I recall. I fumbled around searching for the doorknob when it suddenly opened and Alex, my coworker, appeared. She looked uncomfortable as I was obviously terrified. My boss was coming towards me and the door had been closed. The whole situation seemed very sketchy, which I guess it was. "Is everything okay in here?" she asked, a puzzled look on her face. "We were just needing some help fixing the camera in the maze. It's not taking pictures for some reason." I looked back at my boss and his eyes had gone back to their natural, kind blue. He smiled at Alex, moving around me to go out the door to help them. He turned back to me. "Did you need something?" he asked. I stuttered and glanced nervously around the room. "Yes," I squeaked, making my answer come out like a question. "Okay, well, let me just fix the camera and then I'll talk to you about whatever it is." He smiled benevolently. If I hadn't seen his obsidian black eyes moments ago, I would have thought he looked so kind, so normal. But now I could barely look at him without my stomach dropping to my knees. "On second thought, why don't you go stand in the photo kiosk while we check the camera?" he said. "You work the booth and we'll try to trip the camera, so you can tell us if it's working or not. I'll text you when we're in there and you can check the photo." I nodded soberly, trudging over to the kiosk like the obedient little worker bee that I am. When I got to the kiosk, I booted up the counter and got ready for the text to come in with my instructions. It didn't come. Not for a long time. I got bored, so I decided to look through the old pictures. When I clicked on Friday's album, I noticed something very strange. All the pictures had been erased from a certain time frame, from 8:26 to 8:32. There were no photos. Now, on busy nights, and weekends are always busy, there is a picture taken about every 2 or 3 minutes because we try to put about 2 minutes in between each group of visitors we let into the maze. That means there was at least one picture, but possibly 2 or 3, that had been completely deleted. And I know that around 8:30ish is when the man in black had come through. I totally wish I would have saved those damn pictures somewhere else. I quickly checked Saturday and the same thing happened there. All the pictures from 8:26 to 8:32 were gone, vanished without a trace. I got chills and I felt like I was being watched. Suddenly, my phone vibrated in my back pocket, making me jump. I was breathing hard when I checked the text. It was from my boss. All it said was, "Now." Why the hell was he being weird and vague? I figured he just meant that they had tripped the wire and I should check if a picture was taken. I checked. Nothing. I refreshed the program, but still no picture had been taken in the last 18 hours. I texted him back that nothing was happening, so it was definitely broken. He texted back literally instantly, "Check now." I was irritated. Seriously, it had been like 5 seconds, but I did as I was told because, like I mentioned before, I'm stupid. There was a new photo. I was about to text him back that the camera was back up, but then I clicked on the photo. It was a man, still in all black, standing there. This time, his head was cocked to the right, but he was still sneering. I gasped, slapping my hand over my mouth and tripping backwards over the computer cords. I landed hard on the concrete floor of the kiosk and then jumped up to go check what the hell was happening in that room. I raced over to the room where the camera was housed. It took me about 30 seconds to navigate there, and no one was in there when I got there. I had sprinted, so I was panting and sweaty. I called out for Alex, for my boss, but neither answered me. Suddenly, something crashed beside me. I saw a flash of light and I jumped, screaming, glancing around wildly in search of the cause of the noise. I decided I wasn't staying in there for one more second, so I sprinted outside into the fading daylight. Alex and my boss were standing outside, staring at me. "What's wrong?" Alex asked, walking over to me. I couldn't force any words out. I was on the verge of tears and I just wanted to get the hell out of there. "Did our picture show up?" she asked. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. "Well, we didn't see the telltale flash, so I don't think it's working," she said disappointedly. I tried to conceal my fear, as I knew that a picture had been taken, and I knew who was in it too. But I didn't want to bring it up. My boss came over to me and clapped me on the shoulder. "Thanks for helping us out with that, but we're going to have to get somebody more techie to help us find the problem." He smiled, almost menacingly at me, before walking away. I continued to stand in the same spot, sedentary and shaking. Suddenly, my boss turned around to face me once again. "Hey, what did you want to talk to me about?" he asked. I really couldn't focus on anything, or even remember why I was there. I just stared stupidly at him for a while until I finally remembered. Exhaling sharply, I just told him straight up I had to quit, due to personal reasons, schoolwork, blah blah blah. For some reason, I felt like I shouldn't bring up the picture since I no longer had proof. I also didn't say anything about the new picture of the man. I don't know if it's still on the computer, nor do I want to find out. I'm so disturbed. Is my boss in on it? Was he possessed? Why were his freaking eyes black? But here's the worst part. I got home tonight and I started to write this up for you guys, so it was fresh in my memory. And as I was doing so, I decided to check my email. I got an email from an unknown address. I saved the picture and put it on here. I'm not super good at the whole technology/Reddit things, so I don't know if these links will work. But this is a link to the picture I got in the email. That flash I saw in the house must have been the camera going off, capturing my moment of fear after the crash. But Alex said that camera wasn't working. I'm all kinds of confused and all kinds of worried. Who sent this to me? Is the camera broken or not? What is happening to me? Please help. That is so freaking creepy. Oh my god. And let me just take a look at the picture. I'm like kind of scared to open it, but Imgur. Okay, so it just seems to be a picture of her, and it's just her against the wall, and it looks like she got scared. And I'll put it here while I'm talking to you guys about it. But I mean, there's nothing much to it. It's just really a picture of her, and she looks like she got like jump scared, and she's trying to face away from whatever scared her. And there's not really much to it, but it's the fact that she got this sent to her after she had quit and when she was home, and it was from an unknown email. You know, all of this is super scary and eerie, and of course it kind of seems like it could have possibly been some kind of prank that they were trying to do on her that might have just gone on for like way too long and let it go on to a point where she was too scared to work there, and then she ends up quitting. But I don't really know why somebody would let it get to that point before being like, oh, it was just a prank, like we don't want you to leave, like we need you here to help us, especially if it was a really busy season. If they didn't have people to spare to help them out, I feel like they would have said something at some point for her not to leave. And obviously her boss, if he was in on the prank or whatever it was, he probably would have said something to her once she was quitting. He would have been like, oh, it was just a joke, I was helping your coworkers play a prank on you or something like that. Unless he thought that telling her that would still cause her to quit, because obviously he's supposed to be the boss and he probably should have known better and told them that they can't be playing pranks on this one person and that they need to be doing their jobs and, you know, etc. So this whole thing with the camera not working, that I feel like that would have been too elaborate for them to pull as well, because obviously they're making money from these people buying the pictures that were taken. So if that wasn't working for the last 18 hours and they weren't getting pictures from anyone, that means that they were losing money. So very, very eerie. I would have loved to know what happened in the end. Obviously she ends up quitting and there's nothing else that really goes on afterwards other than that email that she got sent with her own picture from the corn maze, which is very, very creepy. But there was also some people on there saying that she should probably talk to her coworker Alex, because maybe she knows something more, or maybe she could help her find out who deleted those pictures, or if she saw anybody being suspicious or anything like that. But at this point, I'm guessing that she just wants to put this behind her and pretend it never happened, and just, you know, get the story out on Reddit so she could have some people read it and then just not think about it again. Anyway, guys, that is going to be the last story for today's video. I really do hope that you enjoyed getting spooked here with me with these very creepy stories. I really enjoyed these, and as always, I really love Reddit stories. I feel like I find some very good and creepy ones whenever I go on there. So let me know which one was your favorite, and if you did make it all the way to the end of this video, just know that I really appreciate it, because not a lot of people make it to this point. And if you did make it all the way to the end, make sure to leave a scarecrow emoji. That way I know who stayed all the way to the end. And if you did, as always, me and you are besties, and I always really appreciate it, and it always makes me so happy. Also, before I do end the video, today's comment shout out goes to this person right here. Thank you so much for leaving a nice comment. As always, I really do appreciate it, and it really makes my day. And if you want to be in the next comment shout out, all you have to do is leave me a nice comment down below, and that's it. Hope you had a very fun Halloween. Happy Halloween, happy spooky season. It has come to an end, but we will still have spooky content forever on this channel and always. So look forward to the next video. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to stay safe and be kind. Bye bye.